Annyeong! Welcome to Delightful! This is the start of a new series, the Rainbow Candy Dolls. Basically, we're combining the two best things ever into the ultimate set of dolls. I've already designed and created the dolls, but I'll be revealing them to you one color at a time. Let's start at the top of the rainbow with red, of course. Let me take you through the concept art process. With the theme in mind, I tried to think of every kind of red candy out there. What's red? I'm thinking Kit Kats, Skittles, Twizzlers, cherry flavoring, spicy gummies, peppermint? Anything that is a candy and includes the color red. I tried to think of as many as possible, then gathered images from the internet to create one big inspiration board. And from this, I started sketching a character. I want this line of dolls to be pretty out there, so I'm thinking big, funky silhouettes and leaning really hard into the candy brands and packaging aspect of it. So yes, you probably already guessed it, we're giving her two huge Twizzlers ponytails. That's her main thing. And then she's got a cute leather jacket that's just covered in red packaging. I wanted to incorporate candy canes, but I didn't want her to look Christmassy, so I kept it to a minimum by restricting the peppermint stripes to the cuffs and the socks. And although you can barely see it, she's got a Kinder Egg backpack. Okay, let's go! What doll should we use? Why, Draculaura, of course. Her skin tone is already very pink. I'm going to stick with realistic skin tones for this series, although I do try to pick dolls that trend towards their respective color. Draculaura is such a pretty doll already. Anyone who's watched my channel before knows that I adore Monster High dolls, especially the new Generation 3 ones, and have huge respect for the original designs. I honestly wish they sold blanks to artists like me so that I wouldn't have to destroy a perfectly good doll. I feel so bad. It's more rewarding to turn like an old nasty doll from a thrift store into a work of art, but these Gen 3 dolls that I really like to use are still pretty new, and they aren't really showing up in thrift stores yet. Okay, the base doll is primed and ready. Let's start with the hair. This is the color Cherry Pie from dollyhair.com. Lay the hank down straight, pinch and peel off a small number of hairs, fold it in half, and loop it onto your rerouting tool. It's nothing fancy, just a needle with the eye cut at an angle, being held in place by a drill chuck. Then stab the head. And again. And again, 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 and again. We'll style the hair later, so keep it organized for now by twist tying off the ponytails and bangs. Squeeze glue through the neck hole and squish it around real good. This coats all the loopy hair plugs on the inside and should keep the hair in place. The next day, when that's dry, reattach the head and body. Warm up the head one more time to ease it back onto the neck peg with minimal damage. I know we just finished it, but we've got to hide the hair in order to draw the face. Mask it off using a scrap piece of fabric and some well-placed pins. Take the doll outside and give her a spray or two of that good old Mr.Super Clear. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area and put on a filtration mask. Hold the doll at arm's length and evenly coat the face with a couple bursts. As always, materials will be listed in the description box below the video if you want to know more about what I'm using. Now that the sealant's dry, let's draw her face. I want Red to look happy and excited. She's the first color in the rainbow. I want her to look friendly and inviting, like, welcome back. I know Delightful hasn't made a new doll video in a while, so please, come in, sit down, let's have some fun. Would you like some Skittles? I begin by sketching the shape of the eyelids and eyebrows with a light red pencil, and fill in the lip color. Then I rough out the placement of her irises, hopefully facing the same direction. That's always easier said than done. And fill in some of the basic shadows with the same pencil. On the next layer of sealant, I start adding different colors. Dark pink for shading on her eyelids, oranges and darker reds in the eyes, whites for the scleras, etc. Because her hair's in an updo, I thought I might as well render the ears a bit more too while I'm at it. I didn't draw this character with pointy elf ears, but Draculaura has them, and, well, I'm already this far in. I guess it's fine if the doll has elf ears for no reason. Or is it distracting? Maybe she's like a candy elf. You got Keebler elves for cookies, so she could be like an elf of the Kit Kats. I found myself wetting my watercolor pencils and switching back and forth with gouache quite a bit for this face-up. Sometimes a teeny tiny paintbrush and wet pigment just feels opaquer and more accurate than drawing with a pencil. Whatever works, right? I continue to add darker and darker shades of red to bring some dimension to her eyes. One thing I see face-up artists do all the time is darken the outer tip of the eyebrow to give them a gradient. Looks cool, right? Sometimes I add the white highlight last with paint, but for some reason I included the highlight in the drawing from the get-go this time. I wanted to incorporate more colors into the highlight than just plain white. If you look closely, you'll see oranges and yellows. I also made it kind of jelly bean shaped on purpose. Out of all the drawn-on teeth I've given dolls over the years, I think this may be one of my most successful attempts. The smile ends up looking natural, which I'm pretty pleased about. I considered making each of these rainbow dolls very monochrome, in other words, using almost exclusively red. But since they'll be displayed together as a group, I thought it would be more fun and frankly look better to include little rainbow elements on each one instead. So for this doll, she's got rainbow dots on her lower eyelashes. Sharpen up the lines here and there, and with a few more white finishing touches, the face-up is done. She looks so cute! I'm really pleased with the subtle color shifts in her face. It's easy for a mostly single color painting to fall flat, but with the additions of red, orange, and pink, it keeps it interesting. This part's always fun, letting the hair back down. Oh, she looks so cute already. That hair color is really pretty. Let's style it. I should put her on a stand and get a better camera angle for you, but let's be honest. The easiest way to tie a doll's hair into ponytails is to pinch it between your knees. Get a good angle on that thing. To get Twizzler's hair, I'm going to do a simple 2-strand rope twist on her ponytail. I divide the hair into 2 equal parts, then twist both of them clockwise. While twisting clockwise, pass the 2 strands around each other counterclockwise. Then tie off the end. And to get the other side to match, I did that in reverse. So I twisted her right ponytail counterclockwise while twisting the strands clockwise. Does that make sense? Ah, bangs. Here we go again. Thankfully, I have found that Dolly Hair's nylon hair selection is one of the easiest hairs to style. I use a heating iron to heat up a chopstick, and then use that chopstick like a teeny tiny curler for the bangs. Keep a glove on your other hand to press the hair into the hot chopstick and shape the curve. Guys, this might be the best I've ever cut and styled bangs. I think they're better than my actual bangs in real life. I should really go to a hairdresser. Let's talk about clothes next. So, I mentioned at the top of the video that I designed and made 6 dolls at the same time, and there's a good reason for that. They're clothes. There are a lot of logos, candies, texts, photos, all over the clothes for these dolls. Now, I'm no stranger to hand-painted details on doll clothes. You've seen me do it before. But this would have been an awful lot of work, and frankly, printing the design onto the fabric, I mean, that just looks really good. First, I drew up new patterns and perfected the exact size and scale of each pattern piece according to the doll. So for red, that means I drew up a new letter jacket pattern that fits Gen 3 Draculaura. Just doing the pattern making for 6 dolls took about 2 months. To anyone who has ever done pattern making, like, you get it. It is such a trial and error process. Honestly, my least favorite part, but you gotta do it. Then I took those patterns into Photoshop and collaged together every piece, packing it as full of detail as my concept art implied. This part was really fun. Each logo and element were intentionally placed onto every part of the pattern, all while keeping in mind seam allowance. After I'd done this for all 6 dolls' clothes, I put them together and uploaded one huge file to an online fabric printing service. In this case, I used SPOONFLOWER. Because doll clothes are very small, I need to print a whole bunch to make it worth the money, you know? To cover one whole piece of custom fabric. And I only wanted to pay for shipping once, so that's why I designed 6 dolls in advance. Well, the fabric finally arrived all the way to South Korea, where I live, and how's it look? Amazing! I was so nervous to open this. You're gonna get a little sneak peek of the other dolls' outfits on here, but I really wanted to show you. I was worried the colors might not be very bright, or the detail might get lost, or worst of all, if the scale was off, that would be disastrous. But all of my concerns were, thankfully, alleviated. Big thanks to my mom, who has ordered plenty of fabric from SPOONFLOWER over the years, so she had some vital knowledge about, like, which fabrics printed the sharpest and brightest and stuff, so her insight was very helpful. I've written down exactly what I ordered in case you want to do something similar. I spent so much time perfecting the doll clothes because I know I only have one shot to get it right. For that reason, I'm sewing more slowly and carefully than I ever have before. I can't really afford to make any mistakes this time. I've made hundreds of doll clothes at this point, surely, but sewing together pieces of fabric that have my very own meticulously designed prints on them feels extra special. The mix of materials also elevates the quality. The stretchy knit cuffs, the satin lining. These might be my best doll clothes ever. Speaking of satin linings, I still don't know if there's an easy way to do this. I just sew it separately, then turn and iron the hem and hand stitch it into the main jacket. Is that how it's supposed to be done? I went very slowly and did a stitch in the ditch to hide the stitches. Some materials for the doll clothes I acquired elsewhere. Like this shiny red foil in this clear plastic sheet. Where'd these come from?
Okay, so I was just out on a walk to clear my head, thinking about how I'm gonna buy materials for this doll. And guess what I found? Look at this balloon or something, whatever it is. It's like the exact material I need. Oh my gosh, am I really gonna do this? Alright, trash balloon, you're coming with me. You were destined for greater things. Oh look, another piece of trash. People say doll customizing is an expensive hobby.
I swear, if you change your mindset from seeing trash to seeing potential materials, a whole new world opens up to you. And of course, I washed everything before I used it, okay? Don't freak out. Mylar balloons in vinyl packaging are not designed to be sewn, but I gave it the old college try. Some well-placed pieces of tape on the inside of the skirt helped to give it structure. As for the clear skirt, too many gathers made it bulky and not cute, so I actually go through 3 variations until I get it right. More on that later. Shoes are a pain to make from scratch, so my advice is find a pair that fits and work from there. These are Gen 3 Cleo Denial shoes, and they look like a close match. With a little felt and hot glue, we can turn these bad boys into knee-high Converse. As always with hot glue, like, use it sparingly and don't depend on it to actually hold anything together. It's more like a stepping stone, just something to hold it on while you put in the real work of sewing the fabric to the shoe. Using embroidery thread, lace them up in the front. This is obviously part of the design, but simultaneously keeps the felt in place. The white felt looks too fuzzy and Christmassy, so I painted it with heavy body white acrylic paint to solidify it into a more shoe-like material. I think it works. Lastly, I sew up the backs of the shoes through the plastic and felt to make sure it stays on. Again, never trust hot glue. Her backpack is half of a Kinder Egg, and I swear these things were red, but I looked high and low and found all manner of different Kinder Eggs, but all of them were this orange color? Maybe they've changed their packaging? Oh well. I wanted to use more actual candy and packaging on these dolls, but I found it pretty challenging to incorporate. Anyway, the backpack was pretty simple. I just glued on straps and punched in a small cord for the handle. I filled it with fluff to help keep its shape, then glued on the mesh backing. I'm depending on the hot glue to keep this one together. Call me a hypocrite, I guess. Let's dress her up and see what she looks like so far. The most difficult part, the clothes, are now behind us, so I can breathe a sigh of relief. As you can see, I cheated a little bit with the bustier. It's actually a knit swimsuit. This will help it stay tucked into the skirt. The straps aren't attached at all. It's a ribbon that wraps around her neck and body and ties in the back. But it looks pretty convincing, right? And tying it super tight helps keep everything flat. The socks are also an illusion. Fabric gets bulky real quick on a tiny doll, so you need to take shortcuts where you can. I love the outfit even without the jacket on. She looks like a little pop star all dressed up for a music video or something. We've still got to make her accessories though. Get out the air dry clay. The shapes are very simple. Squished hemispheres for Skittles and M&Ms, and some vaguely fish-shaped blobs of clay. Painting them is what makes them look real. I even painted a little ring pop. There are probably some of you thinking, oh man, the ring pop should have been made of resin. And you're probably right. That would have looked better, but I'll be honest with you, casting resin is a huge, messy pain in the foot and I just didn't feel like doing it. I still do my best to paint it to look like a jewel. Then add shiny gloss varnish to all the candy accessories. I stuck them down to this tray with some sticky tack, by the way. It's a nice way to hold them in place while I'm painting. Once those are dry, it's a simple matter of gluing them to the doll. I tie ribbons around her hair first to make a base of sorts, then glue on the candies. Before we wrap up, let's talk about those last-minute changes, because there's always a few. The bangs were trying to bounce back and uncurl, so I restyled them, and this time I'm going to use styling gel. This is the same stuff I use on my own bangs sometimes. I feather it gently onto the doll's bangs using a toothbrush. Now stay in place, please. I cut 2 tiny triangles out of that Mylar balloon and glued them to her irises for a little extra glimmer. It's a small touch, but it adds a lot. I also glossed her lips off camera. Knit tubes turned right sides out suffice for gloves. Just sew the thumb hole closed and they look like full gloves at a glance. While I was making this doll, I just found doll-size zippers online, so I ordered a whole bunch, and I added a red one to her jacket last minute. Doesn't it look cute? And it makes the jacket look really professionally made or something. I struggled with the clear skirt right up until the end. Too many gathers made the skirt bulky, and in turn the jacket wouldn't go on top, so finally I cut out a half circle of plastic, barely gathered it at all, and closed it in the back with a piece of clear tape. I hope you agree that this looks way better. With all the shiny materials happening around her skirt, it was kind of hard to see, like there was too much going on. So by reducing the amount of shine, I think it's easier to look at too. And with that, she's done! I hadn't thought about what names to give these dolls until the very last minute. I've just been calling them red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple to keep things organized in my studio, you know? Also, I've made so many dolls at this point that I've already made characters with the potential names I was considering, like Red, Ruby, or Cherry. But you know what? That last doll is really old and it was just a face-up anyway, so I hope it's okay if I use Cherry again. It's just the perfect name for this character, right? I hope you enjoyed watching the first of the Rainbow Candy Doll series! Please do look forward to the next color, orange, coming soon. I've had so much fun with these dolls, and I know it took a while not only to make them, but also to get around to the writing and editing of the video, so thank you for coming back to my channel and watching. Everyone has been really nice to me and very understanding about the whole prioritizing my personal life and, you know, taking more time off of YouTube to raise my 2 young kids. I don't create videos at the rate I used to, but I do still really enjoy making dolls when I get a chance. So even though my videos may come out fewer and further apart, I hope you'll look forward to them and continue to delight in the silliness and creativity of doll customizing. Stay artsy! Annyeong! Delightful has merchandise! T-shirts and stuff. It's really cool. I drew everything myself. Here's the cocktail trio of dolls on a t-shirt that's perfect for summer. I've got stickers and a hat too. Feel free to browse at delightful.shop. Thanks! Okay, bye!